NFL draft season is upon us, and welcome to another positional preview here with Rick Venturi. I'm Matt Taylor, and today we're talking about the defensive secondary for the Colts heading into the draft. First round on April 24th. The Colts currently hold the 14th overall pick. And Rick, the Colts have been active here in the offseason addressing some needs in the secondary, obviously with the signing of Cam Bynum and Charvarius Ward. You pencil those guys in the secondary right now as starters. The Colts also signed Corey Ballentine, a corner from the Packers. He comes over and joins the team as well. So how much did those positional acquisitions, if you will, for the Colts lessen their need to address secondary, at least the top end of the draft?
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. It lessened them, and they're very, very good picks. I mean, you know, in Ward and Bynum, you basically got upper tier starters in this league, not average guys. You got upper tier starters. Cross had a terrific year in my book last year. Kenny's still a top tier nickel. Jonesy played pretty well. Brent's been injured all the time. But there's no question those two picks really made us better. I don't think there's any question. But you never have enough quality defensive backs, particularly corners.
No question about it. So let's talk about those corners first, and then we'll transition into safeties. Here are Rick Venturi's top corners. We begin with Will Johnson out of Michigan, two-time All-American, a national championship defensive MVP, Rick. He had 9 career picks in 3 seasons with the Wolverines.
Johnson is a really quality player on film. Very hard to pick negatives on film. He's always in the right spot. He's a very smooth athlete, pretty good in the press, good ball skills. A lot of interceptions, a lot of PBUs, gets his hands on balls. You can tell he's a very smart, quality player. The only thing we're not going to have on, I don't like to ever go into a corner receiver situation without accurate times. He claims he will run personal workouts just before the draft. Right. But we're going in there and we're not sure. And the only question I have on him is pure catch-up speed. I like to have every box checked on those guys.
No question about it. All right, transitioning to cornerback number 2 for you, Rick. Jaden Baron out of Texas awarded the Jim Thorpe Award this past season. That goes to the nation's top defensive back, and he led the SEC with 5 picks last season.
Yeah, this kid is really a good football player on tape. Can play the run. As you said, 5 picks, he'll get to the ball. He's feisty, he's aggressive. Now, he plays mostly nickel. So to me, what happens with a guy like that, he tends to be underrated like DeJean was a year ago. The reason DeJean made it to the second round is because he was primarily a nickel, and that is a devalued position. Now, in this case, Baron is smaller than DeJean, but he's faster. He blew the combine out with that 4.39. Right. I don't think anybody saw that coming, and a great vertical jump. So, again, he's another big riser. He's going to be a guy I think that will be around there if you wanted to go that route. And I think he's going to be much like DeJean was for the Eagles, a guy that when you talked way back in January, not so much, that's going to end up being a good player.
All right, cornerback number 3, Maxwell Haristen out of Kentucky, 2-time second-team All-SEC nomination. And Rick set a school record in the game in 2023. He had 2 pick-sixes and a victory over Vanderbilt.
Yeah, this kid is a terrific cover guy. He's got great quickness. He ran the 4.28 at the combine. I think he was the fastest guy at the combine, which really helped him. He can really cover. He can go get the ball. You mentioned the pick sixes. They're there for you on tape. If the hesitation on Haristen, it's girth. You know, he's 180 pounds. He's not very big that way. Initially, he may be a nickel outside corner, but this kid has great talent, great tools. One thing, just like him and Baron, one thing I just cannot emphasize to people, you must have catch-up speed to play as a rookie in this league.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, those are Rick Venturi's top 3 cornerbacks. Let's transition now and talk about safeties. And your top guy there, Nick Evenwari out of South Carolina, led the NCAA with 2 pick-sixes last year, named first-team All-American in 2024 as well.
This guy's like Membo. This guy's a freak. 6'3", 220, 4.38. 41 vertical or something. I mean, he is an absolute beast. You just don't see safeties like this. He can play back, he can play up, he can play the big nickel, can play the dime. Now, he's going to have some train wrecks because he gets going straight line sometimes. He's coming and going. But this is a player that would be, because of his athletic talent, a value at 14. I'm not saying you take him at 14, but he has that kind of talent. In many people's eyes, myself, he's probably past Starks, who came in, who we're going to talk about as the number one guy. But again, a freak player.
Yeah, so that's 1A, 1B, like you just said, is Malachi Starks out of Georgia. National champion 2 years ago, first team All-American last year, Rick. And what's really impressive, top 5 on his team in tackles in each of the last 3 seasons, including the team leader last year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. My bottom 2 guys, and I say that with reverence, he and Watts, they're September players, okay? Much better than March. I look at Starks much like Bynum, to tell you the truth. Bynum was a 4th-round draft pick because athletically, he wasn't the knockout guy at the combine, but all he does is play great football. Starks is a smart, instinctive, he knows where the ball is, he makes plays, he'll tackle you, there's leadership skills there. I had a great coach who broke me into college coaching years and years ago, and he was an old school guy, but I always remember what he said. He says, when you get a smart, instinctive guy, be that Starks, time him in at 38, don't time him in at 40. Because you give him a step and a half for anticipation and smarts.
Yeah, that's important, no question about it. All right, your last safety that I know you want to highlight here, Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame, won the Bronco Nagurski Trophy back in 2023. That goes to the best defensive player in all of college football. And last year, Rick, a consensus All-American in 2024.
Yeah, and he's almost a twin to me to Starks. This is a guy that makes plays, very, very smart, can play back, can play up front. He's going to go get the ball. He's going to tackle. He's got good sizes, 205. Really, really smart guy, leadership guy. He and Stark could be the Twin Towers, actually.
All right, closing out here, Rick, if the Colts do target secondary, maybe not in the first round, but high in the draft, maybe rounds 2 or 3, are they more likely to target a safety or a cornerback given the depth and the personnel that they currently have on the team?
Well, it's just my feelings, and my feelings doesn't necessarily correspond on this position, but I always feel like you build from outside in. Yeah. And the way the game is today, multiple receivers, ball throwing all over, you're in sub defenses from second and long on, you can never have enough corners, in my opinion. And there will be a lot. Even though I don't think you have necessarily the elite corners here, I don't think there's necessarily a big difference between 3 and maybe 12. So there's going to be some guys down in the middle, even at safety as well. Yeah. There's going to be some good players in that second day and maybe even early in that third day.
All right, we'll see how it shakes out. That's a look at the top secondary players in this draft, according to Rick Venturi, corners and safeties. I'm Matt Taylor, and thanks for watching this positional preview video on the draft, first round, April 24th. And for the latest on the team heading into draft night, stay right here on Colts.com.